Hello, dear listeners. I hope you're feeling great. It's me, Ibrahim again, your English fluency guide, and I'm here to help you develop your listening skill and expand your vocabulary naturally, effortlessly through listening. In the previous episode, we discussed how crucial listening is and how it can develop your language to be like fluent speakers. You can go back and listen to the previous episodes to know how will you develop your language through listening and how important it is. Welcome back again in our new episode. In our new lesson today, we are going to cover a very crucial lesson, which is about idioms. This lesson is meant to be for intermediate level. And by the way, we're going to learn this word in this session. Let's go ahead and start. The first thing I'll start with is this idiom. I think this idiom is amazing. You can use it in many different situations. Starting using idioms is really important when you are an intermediate student. Intermediate means a learner that is in the middle. You know the CEFR of the Cambridge. It shows your levels from A1 to C2. So the intermediate level is in the middle. You are a B1 learner, okay, or B2 learner. So now you are an intermediate student. So you start to use idioms. You start to use idioms since you start the intermediate level. This is an advanced way to express your thoughts and ideas, and it sounds really natural because natives always use idioms when they speak English. So let's get started with this first idiom, which is under the weather. When you say, I feel under the weather, what does it mean? When you hear these words like under the weather, you will think of the literal meaning of these three words, under the weather. And it really doesn't make sense when you think of the literal meaning of the individual words. But that doesn't work with idioms because idioms are a group of words that don't show the literal meaning of every individual word. So what is the meaning behind under the weather? Actually, we say this when we are sick. So when you feel sick, you can say, I feel under the weather. And instead of saying I feel sick, you can say I feel under the weather. So it's a great idiom. You can use it in many different situations. Okay. And instead of saying I am sick, okay? For example, you can use it in the past and say, yesterday I felt under the weather, so I didn't go to school. So you're expressing why you didn't go to school yesterday. So you felt under the weather. So that's why you didn't go to school. Okay. Also, you can use it in the future. Okay. For example, I will feel under the weather if I go out without wearing my jacket. It's very cold outside. It's freezing outside. So you can use it in many different ways like that. So it's a great idiom. It's our first idiom for this episode, to feel under the weather. And I always want you to share your thoughts and ideas. You can stop and discuss this idiom. So when do you feel under the weather? Tell me, when do you feel under the weather? Okay, and what do you do when you feel under the weather? This is a great discussion. You can stop the video and discuss it for 1 or 2 minutes and then continue. Okay, so I know that idioms seem to be confusing. And the word confusing means that they are not clear. They are vague. Vague means unclear. If something unclear, not easy to understand, we say it's vague. It's confusing. We always come across confusing words that cause us to feel the misunderstanding. What's meant by misunderstanding? When you miss something, you don't get it in the correct way. So to understand is to get the idea or information as the other person wants you to know. Okay, but when you misunderstand something, you know it in a different way. So, for example, when I say I feel under the weather, maybe if you don't know this idiom or if you don't know about idioms, you will misunderstand me and think like under what? Under the weather? What does it mean under the weather? Then you will misunderstand me. So this prefix mis gives the negative meaning, okay? So to misunderstand means to not understand something or someone clearly. So the idiom like under the weather uh, and so many idioms don't have a literal meaning, but some other idioms have a literal meaning. It's okay if you accustom something like that, but most of them don't have a literal meaning. Okay, so if you are an intermediate student, you really need to start learning idioms as you are starting also listening to podcasts, as many podcasts as you can. Okay, and I now want you to move to give me examples of idioms you know. How many idioms do you know? If you can tell me some idioms, that would be great. And of course, I want you to discuss them and tell me what do they mean. Okay, so I'll say 3 more idioms and you think of the meaning. Spell the beans. What does it mean to spell the beans? Think of it. When someone spells the beans, stop the video if you know and try to guess the meaning. When you spell the beans, it means to reveal a secret. You are spelling the beans. It doesn't have a literal meaning. Don't think of the literal meaning because that will be confusing. That will lead to misunderstanding because it's vague. It's not clear. You will misunderstand it. So what is another idiom that means to reveal a secret? There is a very common idiom that shows the same meaning, which is to let the cat out of the bag. And by the way, you can use it in many different ways. You can tell someone to not reveal the secret, to not tell the secret to someone else. You can tell him, don't let the cat out of the bag. Don't spill the beans. Don't spill the beans or don't let the cat out of the bag. That is really important. Okay, I don't want to tell him any secrets about myself because he always spills the beans. He always lets the cat out of the bag. I don't want to tell him any secrets. He doesn't keep the secrets. Okay, so, and another idiom we have today, which is a needle in a haystack. Stop the video if you know the meaning. Tell me and then turn it on again to continue. Okay, let's check. A needle in a haystack. It means when you search for something that is very small and you can't find it easily, like searching for a needle in a haystack. Needle is like something metal. We use it to sew fabric, for example, when it's torn. Okay, so it's like searching for a needle in a haystack. You can't find it easily. You'll search a lot and you can't find it. So it's like searching for a needle in a haystack. For example, okay, I tried so many times to search for this the meaning of this word, but I couldn't find it. It's like searching for a needle in a haystack. That's really confusing. So let's recap the vocabulary we discussed today. First, we learned the idiom under the weather, which means we feel sick. And then the intermediate level or the intermediate student who studies in the middle level, not advanced, not elementary. He's not a beginner. He's not advanced. He's in the middle. He's intermediate. Okay. And then we move to misunderstanding. When you misunderstand something, you don't get the meaning of it clearly. Like when you listen to an idiom which you didn't hear before, so you misunderstand it because it seems to be confusing. By the way, this word confusing means something that is not clear or not easily to be understood. Okay? And the word literal is really important when you learn idioms. Don't focus on the literal meaning of every individual word. Focus on the figurative meaning, which means the meaning behind the words, not the literal meaning of every individual word. Then we move to some extra idioms like spill the beans. When you spill the beans, you tell the secret of someone to someone else. It's the same as to let the cat out of the bag. both of them mean to reveal the secret. And when you search for something that is very small or you can't find it easily, it's like searching for a needle in a haystack. Something you can't find, it's impossible to find it because it's too small to be seen or too difficult to be found. It's like searching for a needle in a haystack. It's when you pay a lot of effort to find something but you can't find it. After a lot of effort, you say, I searched a lot for this thing but I couldn't. It's like searching for a needle in a haystack. I hope you found this lesson beneficial to you and you learned something new today. And try to use these idioms in your future discussions and conversations because they are great. And if you are an intermediate student, you really need to learn more and more idioms. That's it for today. Until I see you in the future episodes. See you next time. Bye-bye.